Welcome. Get ready for Sunshine and Dad, where you'll be encouraged, enlightened, and empowered by your hosts, Mansfield, Frazier, and me, Ashley Smith.
Mindfulness. What we talking about is mindfulness.
Welcome to our very first podcast, Sunshine and Dad. We do know what's going on, actually. I'm Sunshine, and this is my dad, the Mansfield Frazier.
Yes, I am. And I guess people might wonder where we got the name Sunshine and Dad for a show.
Yeah.
I mean, people have daughters and daughters have fathers. But it's because our relationship is new. So explain, when I tell people that I got a new daughter, explain what I mean.
So what he means when he says he has a new daughter, clearly I am not a baby. What he means is 10 years ago, I found out that the guy who I thought was my dad for my entire life, I found out that he was not my dad at 20. And at 20, I got a few names, including dear old dad here. At that time, I couldn't find anything on anybody. And so last September, I got a connection with a potential half-brother. And so we got on 23andMe. We got on 23andMe to see if by DNA, if we were actually half-siblings. It turned out we were not half-siblings. And I was distraught because I thought, like, I finally found my dad, and he was...
Well, you thought you found a link to your dad.
Yeah, I thought I had found my dad's son.
Oh, your dad's son. So if he was your half brother, then his father would have been your father.
Right.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Yep. So I went on 20. We went on 23andMe, and we would have shared like 25% DNA, and we didn't. And then after that, I pulled myself back together, I went back and I saw a connection to a cousin, and I noticed that she was on my father's side, whom I still didn't know yet, and I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, I'm looking for my father." And she said, "Well, do you know any Fraziers?" She said Fraziers and Williams, or did I know any? And I remembered having your name, and so I said, "Wait, yeah, I know. I have a Frazier in mind, Mansfield Frazier." And she said, "Yes, that is my father's first cousin." I knew right then and there that you were my dad, because if her and I were connected on 23andMe by DNA. And you and her were connected on 23andMe by DNA. So I knew that right then and there, I knew you were my dad. And then I Googled you, and I found all kind of information. I found articles about you, written by you, the winery that we're sitting in right now, Chateau Huff, shameless plug. And I found the number at the bottom of the winery's website, called it up, and asked to speak to Mansfield, and you said, "Hello, this is Mansfield," and I spazzed. You remember?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You said, "Can I call you back?" So, well, you're just talking to him. Why you want to call me back? But you were at work, so you wanted to switch phones you wanted to switch to your personal phone.
That's exactly right.
And
I didn't expect for you to answer the phone. That's what happened.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, I didn't know, what your relationship to the winery was. So I didn't 10 years ago, I couldn't find anything. And this time it was very seamless. Like, it's kind of one of those things, what do you call it? Fortuitous.
Fortuitous. Yes, fortuitous.
I guess, it was the timing that it was supposed to happen, because
everything happens in its own time, so it was ready to happen. So,
and I called you back from my cell phone, and I asked you, "Did you know Deanna Green?" And I'm sure your heart sunk. And I said, "Well, she says that you might be my father." I didn't even tell you about 23andMe. I just told you, asked you, "Did you know my mom?" And you thought about it, Deanna, and you said, "Yeah."
I said from about 30 years ago.
And so I said, "Well, that's what you said."
Yeah, I said, I've known her. I said, but I haven't seen her in about 30 years almost.
And I said, "Well, she thinks you might be my father." And you said, "Well, no." No, I'm not your father, but I could tell you who is Chuck. You started talking about some man named Chuck.
Yeah.
Being my dad.
But Chuck and I was business partners of sorts, and we both, at various times, had a relationship with.
Yeah, that's enough. I understand.
Yeah.
Enough said.
And that's when I know I said, well, I don't want to say anything to hurt your feelings, but I can kind of tell you what I know, because I had come to see you when you were a baby, and I said, nah, she's too light skinned, too cute to be mine.
Well, I can't disagree, because Google even had your picture, the picture with you in that blue shirt, and I thought the same thing. I said, well, nah.
Which blue shirt?
Your professional picture. I think you said it from like.
My headshot.
Yeah, from how many years ago?
Oh, that's 15 years ago. I took that headshot.
I can concur. I was like, I don't think I had a picture painted in my mind of what you would look like. Mm-hmm. I can't agree that at first I didn't see the resemblance, but the more time we spent together, I see it. Like in here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you see it, I'm cool with it. I trust the science, and once you explain the science, and I knew I'd done 23andMe 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't know why I did it, because some other family members did it, and
it was and
it was funny because
the rave now.
Yeah, it's funny because when we were talking, I was in my kitchen, and my wife, her computer station is off the kitchen, and so she was hearing the conversation, and she's smiling and
I bet.
Oh yeah, she's smiling like
based
crazy.
Based on your responses. Right. Well, no, you talk on speakerphone, so she could hear me, cause you like on your cell phone. She could hear me.
Yeah, and she was mouthing, "Your past catching up with you, huh?" and that night, when we were going to bed, I said to her, I hope I am her father. And she said, well, why? And I said, I'm not quite sure, but what it was, that you were brave enough to reach out, and you sounded half sane. And I didn't want you to get you could have found a guy who said, okay, I'm your father, you proved it. Beat it. Don't call me no more.
Yeah,
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the relationship.
It's true.
Whereas me, I've got enough love for, let's go find some other kids of mine.
Oh boy, Papa.
And there are no more, believe me.
I mean, how could you really know? Because you didn't know about me for 30. Well, you had an inkling.
I had an inkling.
You thought
and then there was another young woman, Debbie, who was friends of all of ours, and she used to always say, "That's your daughter. She said that forever." And you don't know what you're talking about, Debbie. But so you got to meet.
Debbie knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, Debbie evidently knew what she was talking about.
And you started calling me Sunshine ever since.
Yeah.
Even though you're a little seasoned, I was surprised you text so much. Cause
did I text so much?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist by profession. I write for a living. So
right from the beginning, it was Sunshine, and of course, I think you thought one time that I called you Mansfield, and even though I'm 30 and we had just met, you're like, "Don't you dare call me Mansfield." I was like, "Whoa!"
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
I did not.
You did. You did. But
I think you're making stuff up.
No, yeah, you said it, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I wanted you to call me Dad.
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said
that's probably. I don't doubt.
Back to you.
I don't doubt that I said that. Yes, I'd rather you don't call me Mansfield.
You didn't want me to call you Mr. Frazier?
No, you don't have to call me Mr. Frazier. Dad is fine.
You know what is the craziest? One of the there are a lot of crazy coincidences from us meeting, but the fact that you're a journalist, yes. You write for Cool Cleveland at the moment?
I write for Cool Cleveland. I also write for the Ward 7 Observer. I've written for the Daily Beast. There's another publication wants me to write for them. I've edited newspapers. I was the editor of the Call Post for brief period, Don King and I couldn't get along.
Literally?
No, Don wanted me to put his picture on the cover every issue of the Call Post. Every week he wanted a picture. And I said, Don, that ain't the way you do newspapers. And he was insistent that his picture be on the cover, and I couldn't do it. I'm a professional journalist.
And then your radio show is
my radio show
The
Forum with Mansfield, Frazier. That I've been doing that for about 7 years on major media, iHeart Station, WTAM. But
the Tuesday that I called you. So it was, I'll never forget it, of course, because when you're searching for your dad for 30 years, you don't forget the day.
Well, you hadn't been searching for 30 years, but you didn't know for 30 years. You've been searching for...
Well, he wasn't around either, ironically, even though the guy who was supposed to be my dad, he wasn't around either. So, it's not like I had a relationship with him.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't like you had a relationship with his dad.
But you're right. As a kid, no, I wasn't searching. I probably was looking for, his attention and affection because he was supposed to be my dad. But so for 10 years, you're right, I have been searching. And so I would never forget November 19th. That was a Tuesday. So November 19th, 2020 is when we spoke for the first time. That following Friday, I graduated from Ohio Media School.
Right.
And so the fact that although I had never met you, don't know you from a can of paint, that I've blindly been following in your footsteps. Communications degree from Ohio University, and then the very week that I meet you, I'm graduating from Ohio Media School, and you're in that business, and that was the first time that we actually met face to face.
Yes, at Ohio Media School graduation, and I know a lot of the people at Ohio at the Ohio Media Broadcasting. Some of the engineers at the radio station.
Yeah, at iHeart.
Yeah, at iHeart.
Yeah. There are a lot of teacher assistants and teachers.
Right. They use a lot of their graduates for engineers, and a couple of them are on the air. One of them, Anthony Alford, he's on the air now.
Oh yeah, they call him Double A at Ole Miss. Where do they call him Double A at?
We call him Double A. And yeah, so you invited me to come to your graduation, and I said, how will I know you? And you said, don't worry, I'll know you. And
because I had saw your picture,
right?
But you hadn't seen.
I hadn't seen yours. So when I pulled into the parking lot, it hit me. I said, what has she got? Pink hair and a tattoo in the middle of her forehead.
I just got that removed.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you got it removed before I met you. And I said, and piercings all over her. I said, well, still my daughter. I'm still gonna love her. But turned out that you don't have any of that.
Thank goodness.
But yeah, I had a moment because when I first went in, the place was crowded. It was like 100 and something people, a couple hundred people there, and I'm just kind of stumbling through the crowd. I said, well, I'll just walk through the crowd once and just stand here. And then let her find me.
You actually walked past me. You just didn't know.
I know. And so when I stood there, then I saw you started coming toward me, and I went blank for some reason. I said, oh, they must be sending her to get me to take me to my daughter. I don't know why I was thinking that. And that's what I was thinking. And because that's why I thought, well, you're very attractive. And I said, I just didn't think you were my daughter. And so you came up and touched my arm, put your hand on my arm and said, hello, Dad.
Here we are.
It's been, my world changed. And like I said, I've been very proud. And I said, my God must really favor me.
For sure.
To give me a wonderful, beautiful gift at my age. And all the work is already done.
Gosh. And all the work is, well, to a certain extent. Because I've learned a lot from you in the however many months it's been. It feels like an eternity, though. I mean, it doesn't feel like a few months.
No, it's like we've known each other. Yeah, like we've known each other.
Very similar. It's interesting to realize traits that are from you and traits that are from my mom and all of those things. So, why are we here?
Well, we're here because, number one, Whose idea was to do a podcast? Yours or mine?
Might have been a joint collaboration. It's probably both of our ideas.
Okay. Well, I'm on hiatus. I'm on furlough from my normal radio show, and I like being in broadcasting and podcasting, the thing. And I guess it was a thing I wanted us to do stuff together.
Yeah.
It was to find something that we could, and I thought the story was compelling. The story of how we met, the story of how we came together. I think, like you said, 23andMe, and there are a lot of other people in some similar situation that would probably like to have the courage that you did, because I remember when you first said, well, Dan, I think you my dad, and I kind of laughed. And I was a nervous laughter, and you said, what are you laughing at? I had to quickly apologize. I wasn't laughing at you. It was nervous.
Understandable.
Laughter. I mean, it was nervous laughter, but I think it's a heartwarming story whenever people hear it, and you can never have too much family. I don't think you can never have too much love. You can never have too much people to care about.
Yeah.
And I think other people. One of the things, that reason I wanted to do it, I wanted to encourage other people to have the courage to do what you did, to reach out to find your family members. And as you know, there's a tremendous amount of people who are making those connections through 23andMe or Ancestry.com.
I encourage people to do it. When I tell people about the story, I'm surprised about how many people can relate, especially in our community. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, I think that it's our community may be more than in other demographics, but I don't think it's a whole lot more. But that's why I encourage you. I've encouraged you to be thinking about writing a book about it.
Oh yeah. It's in the works.
Yeah. Once you get time.
Right. I mean, you put me to work here.
Oh, immediately.
At the winery.
We got wine. We should have a glass in front of us. We will in the future. Remember, I said maybe we should be sipping our wine.
Yeah.
Because we have some delicious wine.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but when I don't know. You hadn't even been to the winery.
I had not even heard about the winery.
Yeah.
My in-laws live up the street. Yeah. And I just never had come down this far. And so I know people who have heard, tons of people who have heard about the winery. I just had never heard about it. So the other things that we want to be able to discuss is current topics. We want to be able to enlighten the community.
You said it right from the intro. Enlightenment, empowerment, and we planned to do this before we're in the current situation.
That's true.
The coronavirus hadn't hit. Maybe it was just starting, but then Black Lives Matter and the death of George Floyd.
That hadn't happened.
Yeah, that hadn't happened.
A lot has happened.
a lot has happened since we first started planning this. And, I'm very opinionated. I've been writing about... I don't know if I like that looking at. I've been writing about criminal and social justice,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, for the last 25 years, and I know the subject well. And I can say I know it very well. I'm formerly incarcerated. Somebody's going to Google me and find out. Is he hiding the fact? Well, no. I'm formerly incarcerated. You Google it, you're going to find out.
And I am not.
Yeah, and you're not. But whenever I tell people that, because I mentor young men, and I say, when you tell people that you're formerly incarcerated, always tell them what it was for, because they will think the worst. They think you. Yeah, absolutely. The human mind. Oh, you was barbecuing little children or something. People will always go to the worst.
So yes, tell them. Are you going to tell the people?
No, I'm a counterfeiter. I was.
I
was a counterfeiter. I was a counterfeiter for a number of years. I made credit cards on a large scale, according to the federal government. So now it's out there. But that was over 25 years ago.
And you paid
I paid my debts to society.
Yeah.
And And people, when I say it, people say, well, you don't seem like you're ashamed of it. And actually, I'm not.
That's a strange comment. You don't seem like...
Oh, I'm supposed to have my head down. Oh, my God, I did something.
You don't seem like you're ashamed.
I'm not ashamed of it at all.
I thought you said that people don't... You don't seem like you're shady.
No, people... No. People, some people have said to me, well, you don't act like you're contrite about it. You almost act like you're proud about it. And...
It is what, I mean.
It is what it is, and I know why I did it, and and it's the same thing that we're talking about now with George Floyd.
Yeah.
I knew the opportunities that I was given. I knew how they were setting the table to cheat me. I was working for a major company, and I just got tired of them cheating me. I said, hey, let me cheat back. So all it was,
That's exactly why we're where we are today.
Exactly, because we've been getting cheated for 400 years. And it's time that I did that 40-something years ago. I said, I'm tired of, because I was so upset about getting cheated.
Yeah.
I was about to go postal.
Yeah.
You know what going postal means? You know the term?
Yeah.
Going postal?
Crazy?
No, going postal is a term from somebody who works at the post office, runs in there with an Uzi, and kills everybody.
Oh, no, that's where it came from.
That's where it comes from. Going postal. Going into your workplace and perpetrating violence.
Why a post office?
Well, I don't know why, but it's called going postal. I don't, because I think when it was first came into the common usage, it had happened.
So you were about this far away.
Oh, I was only that far away. I was real. Oh my God, they were treating me so bad, and had been doing it for so long. And I was raised by a father that be fair to people and expect fairness in return.
We still don't get that.
No,
I'm sure you didn't get that
so what I did, I dropped out. I didn't want anything to do with their unfairness.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be a criminal. I meant to be an outlaw. There's a difference,
What's the difference, Dad?
The difference is I don't respect your laws, so I'm going to live outside of them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because they're not fair. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to play in a crooked game. So, they invite black people to come play this game of life.
Yeah, right.
And the deck is stacked.
Well, they didn't invite us. They dragged us.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. They did them from the bottom of the deck, and we're supposed to go, oh, okay, we're supposed to be treated this way. I wasn't buying it. Yeah. I still don't buy it.
So you meant to be an outlaw, live outside the law.
To live outside of what I felt were unjust laws.
Which meant that you did some criminal things.
Well, after the money ran out, and I had that way to live. But
it is unfortunate even to this day that people use their intelligence for criminal behavior, because people, like the scams that people come up with and the intelligence that they must have used to do these things. It's like, if you used your intelligence for good, we would be ahead as a people. But
you kind of got it wrong. They do the same thing. They just call it Wall Street. They just call it the stock market. It's a scam. It's a casino. The stock market is a big casino. People like Jeffrey Epstein, others who know how to manipulate it, they got you putting your little life savings in, and they're ripping you like crazy. Absolutely, they manipulate the market all the time. It's a big casino.
So I shouldn't be 100% vested in my stock? Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, it's like pyramids. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of schemes, and by the time they filter down to where we can get in on it, all the money's gone. So they play schemes all the time, but then they determine what's legal and what's not. And they always make it against us what's legal and what's not. That what we do is illegal. I'll give you a better example. The numbers business in America is what created black wealth. It was illegal, the numbers game. People play numbers every day. So what did the state do? They took it over and turned it into the lottery.
Well, there you go, because we're still playing numbers.
We're still playing numbers, but the state got most of it as a lottery. They said it's illegal for you to do, but we'll do it, now it's legal. So they take in twist, turn, shade laws without any, and they do it without consequence because they make the laws to fit what they were doing. That's why we're at this place with George Floyd now. It's because of how they've taken and twisted the laws, ignored the laws whenever they choose, and now there's going to be hell to pay, and there should be. And we're at a point in America where things are going to finally at last change, because I'm a child of the 60s. I thought in the 60s with Martin Luther King that we were going to conquer racism, we were going to beat it, that it was on its last legs. Racism comes back, it morphs, it changes, it goes underground, and it comes roaring back. And it could do it again. There's no guarantee that even with all the energy we see in the United States and around the world, there's no guarantee, because not one law has been changed yet.
Right.
So the same things could happen, because racists know how to go underground and just bide their time and come roaring back. So we have to change. So now the next push is, what do we do to assure that there's parity, there's fairness, there's particularly in the criminal justice system?
Yeah. At first I was like really bothered by the looting, because I have the ability to empathize with, the business owner.
Well, if somebody looted my winery, I'd be mad as hell.
Exactly. And so, but then I was reminded of the Civil War. And I mean, that was not a peaceful protest with signs and stuff.
No.
We had to literally fight for our freedom.
Right.
And there were lots of repercussions and things that were damaged and torn apart and things that had to be rebuilt from that. But if it hadn't been for the Civil War, we could probably still
be enslaved. Yeah.
And so that makes me feel like, we getting somebody's attention.
Well, I'm conflicted about the looting and the violence, because I'm a pacifist at heart. If they would have tried to draft me for the Vietnam War, I would have went to Canada. No way am I shooting at some people I don't even know. I'm just a pacifist. I don't want to see violence, but we have to. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
If we don't protest, now I'm into disruptive protesting.
Okay.
Rather than breaking a window, I'm for protesters going in the middle of I-90 and sitting down.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's disruptive, because now,
disrupt some stuff for
well,
sure.
well, if enough people block that highway, then the people trying to get home to dinner who don't care about your issue, now they care.
Yeah.
Because it's affecting them. If no more than I can't get home to dinner, maybe they're mad at you, and they should be. But now you feel our pain. We're spreading this pain around. We're not going to be the only ones hurting in this country. And that's what it's been. We've been the only ones hurting and suffering. And that's coming to an end. We're all going to suffer equally. We're going to all do good together, or we're going to do bad together. Or the ship of state will sink. And with the president that we have now, that's a big fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge fear. This election is so important.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And it's hard when, you got a lot of people who are not voting because they don't feel like they have anybody to vote for. Well,
it's voting against. Joe Biden is not the best candidate, but he's certainly better than
the lesser of the two evils.
He's lesser of the two evils by a long way.
By a long way.
So because, the Republicans have an agenda. They've given up on democracy because the numbers don't support them. Yeah. So we're going to be delving into that more and more. Yeah. Like I say, I get impassioned about it because I think I have some answers to it. Yeah, you're 100% right. We all should. And that's everybody has to do their part. Yeah.
Voting is a very easy thing to do.
It's so easy.
So we're running out of time, guys. Hopefully you got a chance to tune in to our podcast today. This is just the first of many. You will be able to catch us every Sunday evening at 5 p.m.
Or watch it whenever they want, right? That's how podcasts work.
Yep. You got to tell the seasoned how it works. So, yes, you can also subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our page on Facebook, and our YouTube channel will be up and coming. Make sure that you tag, share, repost, like us, and all of those things. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.